Lanfear's origin explained. The fall of Mierin Eronaile. In the sprawling mythos of the Wheel of Time, few characters embody the duality of brilliance and devastation quite like Lanfear. Known as one of the most powerful and enigmatic of the Forsaken, her story doesn't begin in shadow, it begins in light. Before she became Lanfear, she was Mierin Eronaile, a scientist, a dreamer, a woman of unmatched ambition. Her descent into darkness is one of the most pivotal origin stories in the entire series. This is the origin of Lanfear, how a gifted Aes Sedai of the Age of Legends became one of the Dark One's most feared champions. Before we jump into the exploration, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on future videos. Thank you. Let's begin. Mierin Eronaile, a mind of the age. Long before the breaking of the world, during a time known as the Age of Legends, Mierin Eronaile was a prominent figure. In a world defined by harmony, technological marvels, and the sophisticated use of the One Power, Mierin stood out for her intellect and charisma. She wasn't merely a channeler, she was a researcher, a physicist, and a thinker who pushed the boundaries of what was known about the universe and the power that governed it. At the prestigious Kalam Dawn, an advanced research institution where the most gifted Aes Sedai pursued scientific and metaphysical exploration, Mierin conducted studies into new sources of power. Her ambition? To tap into a source of the One Power that could be used by both men and women alike, free from the limitations that separated Sidar and Sidon. In this endeavor, Mierin was brilliant, but fatally arrogant. The source she discovered seemed infinite. It appeared untouched by the Dark One, untainted, and outside the pattern. With the blessing of her peers, she led the effort to drill into this mysterious power. What they found, however, was not a new source of the One Power, but the prison of the Dark One himself. This act would become known as the Boar, a metaphysical wound in the pattern. It allowed the Dark One's influence to leak into the world for the first time in millennia, and it was Mierin who opened it.
Raise the banner.
The first temptation. What followed the Boar's creation was a slow unraveling of the world. The Age of Legends, once a golden era of peace and innovation, began to corrode from within. Societies fractured. The Dark One's influence spread. As chaos grew, so too did Mierin's reputation, both feared and reviled. She was no longer the brilliant researcher at the forefront of discovery. She was the woman who had given the shadow a doorway into the pattern. In the midst of this growing tension, the man she once loved, Lews Therin Telamon, the Dragon of the Age, began to rise in political and military prominence. Mierin's relationship with him is one of the great tragedies of her life. While she remained obsessively devoted to him, Lews Therin had moved on. He no longer returned her affections and instead chose to love and marry another, Ileana Sunhair. This rejection cut Mierin deeper than any public disgrace. Her personal heartbreak mirrored the collapsing world around her. Love turned to obsession, pride turned to fury, and her wounded heart became the opening through which the Dark One claimed her. She turned to the shadow not merely out of fear or for power, but to claim what she believed was rightfully hers, Lews Therin. She wanted to become his equal, his match in might, and to force him to acknowledge what he had cast aside. Becoming Lanfear. Upon pledging herself to the shadow, Mierin shed her old identity. She adopted a new name, Lanfear, meaning daughter of the night. It was a symbolic rebirth. She was no longer the scientist or the jilted lover. She was a creature of ambition, beauty, and power. Among the 13 powerful Aes Sedai who betrayed the light and became the Forsaken, Lanfear quickly emerged as one of the most formidable. While many of the Forsaken were driven by lust for dominion, revenge, or hatred, Lanfear's motivations were always deeply personal. Her obsession with Lews Therin never faded. She did not seek the Dark One's favor as much as she saw him as a means to an end. Power, immortality, influence. These were tools she believed would help her win back what she had lost. Of all the Forsaken, Lanfear was unique in another way as well. She never gave up her beauty, nor did she allow herself to be altered by the Dark One, as some of the others had. Her vanity and pride were as central to her identity as her intelligence. In her mind, she was the most powerful woman in the world, if not in raw strength, then in intellect and will. The power obsession. One of the defining traits of Lanfear is her obsession with power, specifically the One Power and the true power, the direct force of the Dark One himself. She sought not only to wield it, but to dominate it. Her thirst for power wasn't simply about destruction. She genuinely believed she was destined to shape the world according to her will. She once declared that she would stand at Lanfear's side as his equal or above him. Her pride couldn't allow her to exist in a shadow. Lanfear didn't just want love. She wanted to be worshipped, to be feared, and ultimately, to be the greatest. This hunger would eventually put her at odds not only with the dragon, but with the other Forsaken. Though she schemed with them at times, she never truly allied with anyone. In her mind, all others were pawns, obstacles, or rivals.
A woman who wanted to find a power for everyone to share, to make this world a better place.
The rise of Rand al'Thor. Thousands of years after the War of Power and the breaking of the world, the dragon is reborn as Rand al'Thor, a young sheepherder from the Two Rivers. And with his rebirth comes the re-emergence of Lanfear. Freed from the seals on the Dark One's prison, the Forsaken are unleashed once again upon the world, and Lanfear wastes no time in finding her former lover. She appears to Rand in disguise, calling herself Selene, and quickly tries to influence him. She offers him glory, power, and love, all veiled in flirtation and mystery. It's clear from the start that she sees Rand as Theron reborn, and she is determined not to lose him again. Yet Rand, though confused by his past lives and the chaos around him, is not the same man. He does not fall for her manipulation, though he is often tempted by her beauty and the power she offers. Their relationship becomes a deadly dance, one of seduction, ambition, and clashing wills. Lanfear's attempts to control Rand ultimately backfire. Her jealousy, particularly of Moiraine Damodred and Aviendha, clouds her judgment. Her schemes unravel, and in a moment of madness and rage, she attacks those close to Rand, leading to her apparent death in a dramatic confrontation involving Moiraine at the docks of Carrion. A rebirth in darkness. But death is not the end for Lanfear. In the cosmology of the Wheel of Time, those who serve the Dark One can be reborn, reincarnated into new bodies, often under different names. And Lanfear is no exception. She returns, changed but still dangerous. Her new form comes with new vulnerabilities and new manipulations, but her core remains the same, obsessed, driven, and unwilling to let go of her past. Whether she is working openly or in secret, her shadow looms large over Rand's journey until the very end. Legacy of a Fallen Star. Lanfear's origin is not just a tale of power and betrayal, it's a tragedy. It's the story of a brilliant woman who reached too far, loved too deeply, and fell too hard. Her transformation from Mierin Eronaile to Lanfear represents one of the most compelling arcs in the Wheel of Time. She isn't evil for evil's sake. She is a product of ambition, heartbreak, and the very human desire to be seen, loved, and remembered. In a world where the wheel turns endlessly and the same lives are reborn across the ages, Lanfear is a reminder of what happens when the desire for greatness eclipses the soul. She is a villain, yes, but she's also a mirror held up to the light. And in that reflection, we see not just darkness, but a woman who could have been so much more. Let me know what you think. Like this video if you agree, subscribe for more discussions, and comment your thoughts below.